We are now down to the final 2 playing days of the FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifiers for the Africa zone. Morocco and Tunisia have already booked their places to the World Cup. The looming question is, which teams would follow suit for direct qualifications to the World Cup? I think Group A is very straightforward. Egypt tops the group on 20 points and Egypt will seal qualification when they face Djibouti away. In Group B, Senegal are on top on 18 points, followed by the Democratic Republic of Congo on 16 points. Now, both teams would need to win all of their games to qualify. Any slip-up and the Democratic Republic of Congo can come on top of Senegal. However, Senegal are clear favorites to go through this group. I see no other outcome than Senegal beating South Sudan and Mauritania. Group C. Now, don't we all love Group C? Benin tops the group on 14 points, followed by South Africa on 14 points equally, and Nigeria on 11 points. Now, this is the group of death. This group has been the much talked about group in the qualifications for obvious reasons. As you would recall, South Africa was topping this group on 17 points, but were deducted 3 points by FIFA for fielding an ineligible player in one of their qualification games. Now, Benin plays both of their games away. I've just realized I put Benin and Nigeria at Benin against Nigeria as at home. No, Benin is playing both of their games away. So Benin will play Rwanda away, a very complicated game for them, and they will also play Nigeria away, an even more complicated game. South Africa will play Zimbabwe away, and then South Africa will host Rwanda. Nigeria will play against Lesotho away, and they will welcome Benin in their final group game. Now, in this group, I think South Africa are favorites to go through, and this is the fix here. While South Africa is playing Zimbabwe away, Zimbabwe is actually playing its games on a neutral venue, The neutral venue for this game between Zimbabwe and South Africa is actually in Durban, South Africa. So technically speaking, South Africa is playing Zimbabwe at home, despite it being an away game. So South Africa has an advantage there. And I think given their recent results, South Africa has beaten Zimbabwe in the last 3 games. I think the likely outcome of this game will be that South Africa will beat Zimbabwe, and that will put South Africa on pole position to qualify for the World Cup. The other thing about this group is that I do not see a chance of any of these teams qualifying as one of the best second place teams for the playoff. So it's either you qualify directly for the World Cup, or you do not qualify. So unfortunately for the Green Eagles, I think despite the point deduction, I think that the Green Eagles are going to struggle to make it out of this group and will fail to qualify for the second consecutive World Cup. That's how bad it's become. Sorry, the Eagles will remain perched on their branches at this point in time. Group D is quite a straightforward group, I would say, with Cape Verde on top on 19 points, followed by Cameroon on 15 and Libya on 14. Now, all Cape Verde needs to do is beat Eswatini on the last playing day. Libya, however, stands a chance to qualify as one of the best second place teams, despite Libya having only 14 points. This is dependent on Cameroon's performances against Mauritius and against Angola. Should Cameroon not beat Mauritius and Libya beats Cape Verde, Libya will overtake Cameroon and go on to 17 points and stand as one of the teams to qualify for the playoffs. So as it stands, Cameroon is on pole position to qualify from this group as one of the best second place teams, and I will explain that when we get to Madagascar's group. Group E is done and dusted. The best team in Africa, Morocco, sailed through and have qualified for the World Cup, so we will move straight to Group F, where Cote d'Ivoire tops the group on 20 points, followed by Gabon on 19 points. Again, this looks like a very straightforward group. Gabon will qualify to the playoffs, and Cote d'Ivoire will sail through and will beat the Seychelles and Kenya. Now, Cote d'Ivoire hasn't conceded any goal at all, so they've scored 15 0 goals conceded. I do not see how they're going to concede now going forward. And I think Cote d'Ivoire will be both the Seychelles and Kenya and qualify. However, if they slip up, Gabon is waiting on the wings to take over and qualify directly for the World Cup competition. Gabon, however, do have a tricky game against the Gambia, so they have to go and beat Gambia away to keep alive their chances of qualifying or direct qualification. Group G is very straightforward. I think Algeria will beat Somalia away and book their ticket for direct qualification, with Uganda and Mozambique standing no chance of making it through to the playoffs. I think Uganda have got tricky games against Botswana and away to Algeria. I think Algeria will want to party on the final day of play and seal qualification at home with a victory in front of their fans. So I think Uganda would struggle with that one. Mozambique also has a tricky game against the Guinea. I think Guinea hasn't performed well in these qualifiers and they would want to finish strongly. So I think Mozambique will struggle against Guinea, and these two teams will not be able to make it through to the playoffs. So from this group, it's Algeria all the way. In Group H, Tunisia has already qualified for the World Cup, and I think Namibia stands no chance of making it through to the playoffs. Again, in a similar situation like Algeria, Tunisia is playing their final game at home, and I think Tunisia want to party in front of their fans. They want to finish strongly and show their fans what they could do in America. So I think Namibia would find it very difficult to make it to the playoffs. So Tunisia has already qualified, so we have no issues in that group. In Group I is a very complicated group. So Ghana currently tops the group on 19 points, followed by Madagascar on 16 points and Comoros on 15 points. Now, I expect Ghana to go through. However, if there is one team in Africa you want to bet on throwing away qualification in the final game of qualifiers for any tournament, it is the Black Stars of Ghana. They are specialists at this. Ghana will play the Central African Republic away, and then they will host Comoros. Madagascar, a team very important to the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, will play Comoros away and Mali away as well. So Madagascar has 2 games away, so very complicated for them. And Mali has not done well in this competition. And Mali also still do stand a chance of qualifying for the playoffs should other teams not take their chances. So Mali is going to give Madagascar a game on the final playing day at home. And I expect them to beat Madagascar. Madagascar is also playing away to Comoros. So I expect Comoros to be the team that will be challenging Cameroon for the playoffs. And this is why Cameroon is on pole position to qualify for the playoffs. I expect Ghana to go through from this group. However, this is a group to watch out. Ghana might throw this away if they are not careful, but I expect Ghana to see this one through, given their recent performances. However, I don't want to go by their last performance against Chad, because if we go by that, I am certainly saying that Ghana is going to throw this one away. But I think, given the squad that they do have, I think that Ghana is going to qualify from this group, and Comoros could be the team that goes through to the playoffs. But I think they're going to play, the Comoros and Madagascar will play each other out of the playoffs. I expect them to play a draw, and I expect Mali to beat Comoros. I expect Mali to beat Madagascar, and I expect Ghana to beat Comoros when they meet in Accra. Now, in terms of direct qualification to the World Cup, the groups you want to watch out for are Group C and Group I. Group C, where there is Benin Republic, South Africa, and Nigeria. And Group I, where there is Ghana, Madagascar, and Comoros. We've already spoken about these groups. Now, the other group of death is the ranking of the best second place teams. Currently, Gabon sits on top of this group with 20 points, Madagascar on 19 points, the Democratic Republic of Congo on 16 points, and then we have 5 teams on 15 points. Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Namibia, Uganda, and Comoros. And then we have Libya on 14 points. Libya does have a chance, and while there is a chance, Libya can take it. Now, the most important games in this group of teams are the games involving Madagascar against Comoros, or Comoros against Madagascar, and Mali against Madagascar. And these are particularly important for Cameroon. There is also Mauritius versus Cameroon and Cameroon versus Angola. Now, Madagascar's group I, is very important because if Comoros beat Madagascar at home, Comoros will overtake Madagascar and move into 18 points, where they will be challenging Cameroon should Cameroon beat Mauritius. Now, the issue for Cameroon is that in these qualifiers, Cameroon has not been able to muster a single victory away from home. They could not beat even Eswatini, and they now face the prospect of beating Mauritius, which is a better team than Eswatini. That said, Cameroon are clear favourites to go on and beat Mauritius, and I think because of the tricky nature of Madagascar's group and the fact that the Comoros have a strong interest in qualifying, I think both teams are going to play each other out of this qualification. I also feel that Mali would want to finish strongly, and that when Mali do host Madagascar, Mali would want to beat Madagascar. I also think that Ghana would beat Comoros on the final day of play, and that would put Comoros out, or Ghana might need only a draw. Now, anything barring a victory would eliminate Comoros. So I think Comoros and Madagascar will play themselves out. The question is, can Cameroon play themselves into the knockout phase? If Cameroon fails to do that, then Libya is waiting on the wings to pounce and qualify for the knockout phase of this competition. Let that sink in. I think following the last day of play, the following teams will make it through to the knockout phase of the competition or the playoffs, and it's expected that these games will play over the month of November. It's not confirmed yet, but it's expected so. Gabon, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Burkina Faso, and Cameroon. The teams at risk of not qualifying for the knockout phase will be Burkina Faso, Cameroon, and Madagascar. And should they slip up, Comoros and Libya could, with significant consequences, qualify for the playoffs. So that's it. Based on the current standings and the remaining two fixtures from the qualifiers, the teams that are set to follow suit and join Morocco and Tunisia to book direct qualification for the World Cup are Egypt, Senegal, Cape Verde, Cote d'Ivoire, Algeria, and Ghana. However, we need to watch out. We need to watch out for South Africa and Ghana in particular. These two teams have their fate in their hands. What they do with it depends on them. One to watch.